is Friday, January 22nd, 2021, and welcome into a bonus UFC 257 only edition of the Early Edge. We are powered by SportsLine. We do it all every single day. It doesn't matter the topic, but we do it in 10 minutes or less. And we really felt like with Conor McGregor coming back, first big pay-per-view of 2021, that we do a very special show. We've got a brand new handicapper to SportsLine, and I am excited to introduce this man right now. You may know him from the Anik and Florian podcast. He is an MMA absolute expert. Mr. Ian Parker, welcome to Early Edge. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. It's an honor to be here, and I'm ready to rock this Poirier McGregor card. Let's go.
You're damn right. Our first fight on our card, we're going to go to the middleweights. Makhmud, Muradov, minus 140. This according to our good friends at William Hill, taking on Andrew Sanchez that comes back at plus 120. What do you like in this fight?
Andrew Sanchez is a dangerous fighter, mostly known for his ground game and his Brazilian jiu-jitsu. However, in his last fight against Turman, he won by knockout, so the guy's striking definitely has evolved. However, he's going against a beast in Muradov, who had one of the knockouts of the year, and I think this is a fight that's going to stay standing, and if it does, Muradov's going to get the best of it, and he's going to get the win. I like him right now at these odds. I actually would have priced this at minus 175, so I believe getting Muradov at minus 140 is a nice play and really good value here.
Yeah, Ian, Muradov, the only MMA fighter that's on the money team right now. 19 stoppages, 16 by KO. If you were to lean towards a knockout finish or a certain kind of finish, what would you lean towards?
I would have to go knockout in a situation like this. You know, Andrew Sanchez can get guys against the cage. He's pretty good in the clinch. But what we see from guys that, especially jiu-jitsu guys, when they get their first real knockout and they start getting comfortable with their striking, they start getting what I like to call a little too comfortable, and they start believing that they can knock out everybody, and they get away from what really got there to this level of success. Muradov's not going to play around. He throws great combinations, knows how to use his reach, and if Sanchez does keep this fight standing, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Here at the Early Edge, we also try to educate. And when you're doing MMA betting as opposed to golf or sports, there's going to be a lot of high odds. And so a really smart thing to do is to parlay certain fighters up to bring those odds down. I know you're seeing a 3-fight parlay that you really like for tomorrow.
I do. So I'm going to start off in that 3-fight parlay. I'm going to go with Khall Rountree, seasoned vet, excellent stand-up guy. Takedown defense has gotten way better. He's just fought a higher level of competition over his last few fights. We've seen true evolution in his game. And it's someone who is a minus 300 or more. You have to parlay them to maximize the value at all, or else you're just kind of letting it go to the wind. And sometimes it's okay to sprinkle on an underdog, but against a guy in Khall Rountree with his style of matchup favors him, you got to partner him up with a few other people. That moves me on to I versus Calderwood and over 2.5 rounds. A lot of the women's fights tend to go over. Finishing doesn't happen very often unless it's Valentina Shevchenko or Amanda Nunes. In this fight, I and Calderwood in their last 4 fights each finished only one time. It's because both of them got finished, one by knockout and one by submission. Otherwise, every other fight in their career over the last 8 have gone to a decision here, and neither one really is a finisher. So I'm really comfortable with over 2.5 rounds in that fight. Leading us to the third last leg of the parlay, Amanda Ribas, who is going to be a superstar against a very tough Marina Rodriguez. Rodriguez, great striker. In her last fight, we saw her expose. Her takedown defense a little weak against Carla Esparza. Amanda Ribas is a black belt in judo, a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and trains with the American top team, and her striking keeps getting better and better. So I expect her to roll through Rodriguez. So with Rountree, Ribas, and over 2.5 rounds in I Calderwood, you are getting plus, I believe, 120 odds as opposed to spending a lot more and winning a lot less. So let's take advantage of these heavy favorites, put them together, and let's get the win.
That is incredible value. And speaking of the word value, if you want to value and become a SportsLine member and enjoy great handicapping, like guys like Ian Parker, go right now and use the promo code EDGE, and we will give you 30 days for free. There is not a better time to do it than right before UFC 257. Okay, on to the next fight on our card. We're going to go straight to the co-main event. Dan Hooker coming off a 25-minute battle with Dustin Poirier. He's coming in at minus 135 against the UFC debut. He's a big name in the world of MMA. Michael Chandler coming back at plus 110. He's already made the trip one time to Abu Dhabi as the backup last month, but he's actually going to fight this time. This is much anticipated, Ian. How do you see this one going?
Michael Chandler is a very tough fighter, strong wrestler, great power puncher. We've seen a lot of wars with him in Bellator. However, the level of competition outside of Patricio Pitbull that he lost, his last fight against Benson Henderson, doesn't really show me that this matchup against Dan Hooker is the way to go. Hooker has fought the top-level competition in the division, and he's done very well. Against Dustin Poirier, he was up in those first 2 rounds. Losing to Dustin Poirier in a 5-round war, that doesn't mean you're a bad fighter. That just means you can compete with the best. Hooker's going to be the taller fighter, the rangier fighter. And against wrestlers, he has this up-the-middle knee that has knocked out a lot of guys. Now, neither one of these guys really get finished all that often. So I do expect this to go to 3 rounds. If Chandler has any chance of winning this fight, it has to go to the ground. I believe Dan Hooker, with his coach Eugene Behrman and City Kickboxing, that team behind him, will have him heavily prepared against a short, stocky wrestler in Chandler. And I think Hooker can use his range and win this one. At these odds, you got to go the hangman here, and I like Dan Hooker.
I've seen a lot of interviews by Dan Hooker this week from Fight Island. He seems very, very relaxed. He seems very confident, and I certainly think that he would appreciate you picking him in this fight. And then finally, our last fight on our betting card, of course, it's Dustin Poirier. He comes in at plus 260, taking on the absolute biggest star in the sport, and that is Conor McGregor, minus 330. He said on Thursday that he wants to fight 7 times in the next 18 months, but those fights only happen if he continues to look spectacular and he continues to win. Give it to me on the main event.
You know, this is a different Conor McGregor we are seeing. We're seeing a friendlier, we're seeing more respectful, not the trash-talking type, which makes me feel like he's pretty focused. But we've also heard a couple of things that he welcomes the 5-round war. He doesn't want this to go, although he feels like he could finish Dustin pretty quickly. He wants us to go past a few rounds. Dustin Poirier, I believe, is the most improved fighter since his first fight with Conor McGregor, beating who's who in the division, beating Max Holloway, beating Dan Hooker after coming off that loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think Dustin can really weather the storm in round 1. And if you go and look at most of Dustin's fights, when he finishes, it's usually after the second round, between rounds 2 and 4. If Conor doesn't finish in the first round, his fights have gone into 3 and 4. Against Khabib, he lost in round 4. Nate Diaz, it was at the end of round 2, and then against Nate Diaz again, it went to a decision. So if he doesn't get it done early, I expect this to go a little bit further. I think he wants to show that he is improved, that he's not just the same Conor we saw against Cowboy. I really do think that this is an interesting matchup. If Dustin can avoid that power left in the first round, this fight at plus 155, I think goes past the 3 rounds. And for Dustin to win this fight, this has to go into deep waters because I believe he's got the better cardio. But Conor's precision, man, you don't see guys like that too often. Once-in-a-lifetime type of fighter. These guys know what they're going to do. They're looking to put on a show. Give me over 2.5 at plus 155.
I love it. It's going to be such a different fight than what we saw in 2014 when this ended in 1 minute and 46 seconds by a Conor McGregor knockout. As you mentioned, Dustin Poirier, a way different fighter. Okay, it's time to grab your paper and your pencils and write down all of Ian's picks. And here is what they look like. We start with Muradov, minus the 140. 16 knockouts in his career. He thinks if he was leaning towards a way that this would end, it would be by knockout, but the pick is Muradov. Then loves Dan Hooker, minus 135, and loves the McGregor-Poirier over. And again, you heard him say 155. That's because the numbers are always changing. We just had it right now at plus 138. So get it at the best number that you can get it, but certainly get it at plus money. And then in the parlay, coming back at plus 118, Amanda Ribas and Khall Rountree, and then the over in the Jessica I. Calderwood fight. I'm excited, Ian, for UFC 255. So for the first time, UFC style, let's take all these tickets straight to the pay window for the Duck, Ian Parker, and Jacob the Jeweler, our incredible producer, puts this diamond together. I am the coach. Best of luck at UFC 257, Poirier McGregor. Remember, this is the only place for your daily and your UFC early edge. Good luck.